Morning, everybody. My name is Adam Mico. It's 5 a.m. in Wisconsin. I'm a senior data analyst with the state of Wisconsin. And what I'm talking about today isn't representative of my employer. The views are my own, and it's a disclaimer I have to share. So before I get started, there's my bouncing head. That's the disclaimer I want to share. And and now we're going to go to when I began with the community, and that was jumping back to July of 2019. I reclassed to the position the peak position I had, and I didn't have much to look forward to because I was, um, uh, there's no additional job for me to pursue at the time, and I needed some sense of purpose. So at the time in July of 2019, I'm like, do I watch Netflix? do I uh, uh, do I just relax and count down retirement? I had to find out some sense of purpose. And as an ASPE, it's very, very important for me to have a sense of purpose. So in order for me to seek a pulse, I wanted to find something impactful. I love Tableau. It was very instrumental for me to start my career, and was looking for a way to give back as it gave me a lot for my career development. So I wanted to find a contribution that matters. So I was looking at Facebook groups and trying to figure out a way of uh, having a last go of some sort of sense of community. So I stumbled onto Tableau Magic, and that happened to be my defibrillator. So when I landed there, I saw a bunch of Facebook groups that happened to spam quite a bit. And when I stumbled there, I noticed that it was a very helpful community. And Tuan was very impactful and helped support and mentor me to make sure that I was excited about being part of something and that I could do something impactful. And shortly thereafter, I became a moderator of the community. And then he nudged me to join something else. And that was a Twitter nudge. And you see that little tweeter bird flying in. I'm like, what's a data farm? That's intentional because I had no idea what a data fam was or anything like that. Before I started joining any sort of community, of course, I went to a lot of blogs and so forth, but there was nothing, I didn't know that there was some sort of tech community for Tableau. So it was kind of exciting to see, and I'm like, okay, I'll peek my head in here a little bit and see what happens. So when I did that, to my amazement, the community was very active, and they just brought me in right away. As soon as I started and said, hey there, and kind of looked over and to see what was going on in the community, everybody was trying to engage me and make sure that I was part of the community right away. I really felt I was part of something, and that really made me excited. And the next bit was I found out of the project, the Makeover Monday. Even before I joined Twitter, I noticed that there was a Makeover Monday project and I was using their data sets, but I had no idea how amazing that community was and how active it was and how beneficial it was to so many people. But then as I started to learn more about the data family, I was excited to learn of how they are and how they represent each other. And it's 5 in the morning here, so I'm going to go through the little points of what I think the data fam at least means to me. First of all, they're dynamic. They're dynamic, grown up, and progress by engaging diverse people from a variety of backgrounds. Their ambitions. So following that line, they look to push the tool to levels never anticipated, but also how can we make a positive impact? So they're looking at this as more than just being a tech tool, but a community and engaging with everybody to push forward for the greater good. They're thankful. So a lot of people had a lot of positive impact from Tableau and the tool and how it's impacted their career. And everybody's thankful for that, and it keeps them pretty humble. They're approachable. You have some of the best data visualizers out there, from people that are just community members like me to Tableau ambassadors, the Zen masters, and they're all very approachable. There's no sense of hierarchy. And that's shocking to me because I've never been part of a community that had this much going for it, but no sense of hierarchy. And that was such a huge thing for me to really be all in on this community, is that everybody's so approachable and that they were very helpful for me. They're very focused. There's a lot of things that they look at, and they just want to make sure that they're focused on the greater good. So a lot of things that we do, um, and it's oftentimes putting themselves away and being very selfless with it, and focusing on the greater good, which is shocking to me because most communities, people look for themselves, but they're focused on so many other great things to impact everybody. They're astounding. If you look at the visualizations that people make, and that's what keeps everybody humble, is that when you see the visualizations or their community involvement and whatnot, it's astounding to me. I've been working with Tableau for 5 years, and then when I came to be part of this community, I'm humbled every day by all the incredible visualizations I see. It just blows me away every time, and it makes me humble because I'm like, I can't do that, and I would definitely need help to do something like that. And that's what astounds me. Besides that, and then you're inspired every single day by something somebody does if you're very much part of the community. They're mindful, so they're looking not just to uh, people are not looking just to push themselves forward. They're looking to make it a better place for everybody in the community. So they're looking to make sure that everybody is is part of something and is happy to be part of it. And they're looking out for their interests more than their own sometimes. So people will spend extra time with people just starting out with the community. Like with me, when I was starting out with the community and trying to find my footing, a lot of people spent extra time with me, being very kind and talking to me in the DMs and making sure I was really part of the family. So in a very short time, I was able to achieve a lot of things that I didn't think was important to me until I actually received notification that I won something and I was nominated for stuff that was so astounding to me. First of all, um, when it was announced at the Tableau conference that I won Notable Newbie, it was just mind blowing to me because I didn't even know I was nominated. But then when people were posting it and sharing it, it was just such an incredible thing. And then even more so is when I noticed that I was nominated for Best Blog because I just started my blog a month and a half before the Vizzies. And I'm like, I'm up here with people that I admired for years. So it's just so incredibly shocking for me to be part of something so huge. And usually I don't care about recognition, but being part of a family like this and being recognized by your family basically is really important for you, especially since you didn't know you're making an impact. And when you realize you make an impact and that you're not only part of it, that you're considered very impactful as well, that means the world to me. And I want to share that with other people because other people can make as much, if not more, of an impact than I can make. And on that line, since I joined the community, I had a bunch of visualizations that were really cool. First off is this Elvis one, which was shared by the Tableau community, Tableau on all social media, which was really cool, celebrating data plus music. The second one is the Sandberg game that was just published yesterday. And the third one was a violent crime map with Boston. However, these were not done by myself. These were done with members of the community because without them, I couldn't have done what I did with these visualizations because they really help push me along and help level out my weak spots. And that's a huge thing is when you're joining the community, you're not just part of a Twitterverse or sharing vizzes, you're making new friendships and you're making something with other people that you could be really proud of and that you could share on your portfolio and learn a lot from. Generally, it's best to work with people that have different strengths than you do, so you can learn from them and work together with them, and again, have new friendships. So on the top left, the Elvis Viz, it was Zach Bowders that helped me out with that. Brian Moore helped me significantly with the Sandberg game, which was basically my dream sports viz. And the Boston Tableau user group saw my initial viz for the violent crime map of Boston. Like, this would look cool. I'm like, oh yeah, it would. So I went ahead and updated it based on their specifications. I was quite happy with it. So after the recognition, I created a blog that celebrated what I felt immediately after receiving the Vizzy and receiving the nomination for Best Blog. It meant so much to me that I was recognized. And once I realized that I was recognized by the community and that I was impactful within the community, I was overwhelmed with emotion, and I needed to share that in the blog. And fortunately, a lot of people shared the blog as well because they saw a lot of themselves in the blog. And it meant a lot for me to have that community meeting, and having that meeting be something that could be supported and shared by other people. And right after that, I'm like, I want to have the community join along with me. So I coordinated or facilitated rather a community blog, which had ended up with 79 contributors from 15 countries and 4 continents, with over an hour of reading, sharing their thoughts on Tableau, uh, the data fam, and the analytics community. And it was another one that was shared quite a bit. And I was so honored to be part of that. And without the community fellowship that I had, it wouldn't be possible to do something like this, because without people wanting to be allowing interviews or spending time to answer questions or wanting to be part of such a family, something like this wouldn't be possible, especially for somebody just coming up with the community. So bringing the data fam back to work. So it's all well and good if you hang out with the community, enjoying people's company and making visits with the community, but it's even more impactful if you could bring it back to work. So you could bring your new skills back to work. You could bring your community mentorship back to work. So what I'm doing and what I've done in the past, even before being part of the community, is using the blogs to enhance my data visualizations. Kevin Flerledge had a really interesting blog recently where he shared basically a notification window. So if it's an exception report or an error report, you can go ahead and share. You can create a viz that alerts people when to look at uh, a data to look at a dashboard to make sure that they have coverage there, and when not to look at it. So if there's no number there, that means, or if it's a 0, that means you don't have to look at it. But if it's a 1 or 2, you may want to look at the viz. So these are good for vizzes you don't have to look at all the time, but you need to look at when they pop up. So I was able to bring that back to work, and it made me look like a rock star, but it was all because of an awesome blog post by Kevin. So recently I presented at a local tug, uh, sharing my community story and what it means to me, and trying to bring people and sharing resources with people that I work with to make sure they have an opportunity to enhance their portfolio as well. So it's very important for me to bring back and talk about that, because if I kept it in, it wouldn't mean as much. So I have an opportunity to share something that's really great with a lot of people, and it made me very happy to be able to do that. When I initially was approached to present at the talk, I didn't really have much to talk about because it was July. And remember, back in July, I was flashbacking and didn't have much to talk about, except I recently reclassed and I used Tableau. But from July until November, so many things changed, and I had a bunch to talk about, and it received a big ovation because people were happy that there was a community that they could learn from, and they had resources, because a lot of people tend to work in their own silos. So it was a great opportunity for people to learn and reach out and connect, and also openly communicate with people about things that they're working on to help them as they're progressing in their Tableau careers, if you will. And finally, this February, I'll be relaunching a private work tug with the help of people on my team. We had a tug before, it went by the wayside, but one of the things that, and I shared this with Andy, Eva, and Sarah, is that we're going to be using the Makeover Monday type of data sets in order to share with the people that we work with to help them look at things and work as a community and look at bad visualizations, or not bad, or ones that don't have a lot of insight, and make them a little bit more insightful, and share ideas and practices with them so they could enhance their ability to create Tableau visualizations. So here's where you could find me on Facebook. I'm in Tableau Magicians. Now I'm an administrator there with Tuan Wang. As well, I'm on Twitter, @Mico1, LinkedIn, @Mico, and Tableau Public, @Mico. I keep it very simple. So with that, if you have any questions, I'm very, very happy to answer those.
Great presentation, Adam. I'm just jumping here because I haven't yet seen any questions, and I wanted to check with Caroline whether she wants us to continue or, oh, there's a question coming in. I'll let you, I'll give it back to you, Adam.
Yeah, no worries. I'll introduce you once. I was just waiting a minute or two for the questions, but thank you, Eva. First of all, congratulations. How much time do you dedicate to Tableau in a day? And is Tableau part of your job role? Unfortunately, I can't talk too much about what I do at work because that's one of the agreements I have if I get the opportunity to present in public. But I could say I've been working in Tableau at work for about 5 years, and it's approximately 20% of my work. And it's something that I use quite frequently and almost daily in my daily job. And it's helped me quite a bit progress in my career. And that's one of the things that I can't stress enough with you. You could use a lot of tools, and a lot of great data visualization options are out there, but nothing has really reached me like Tableau, or is easily shareable and transformable as Tableau visualizations are for immediate insight. Great question. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. Oh, hi, Mira. So how do you feel when you were awarded the Notable Newbie Award? At first, I didn't know I was nominated. So it was kind of shocking for me to see that I was nominated for such an award in the first place. And the first time I learned about it was when Sarah shared it on Twitter that I won the award. I'm like, I didn't know I was nominated. So it was shocking to me. And then it didn't really hit me until Tableau published it on YouTube. And then I saw the response from the community and that they were actually happy I won the award. I didn't understand. I didn't know if people would grumble if I won the award. You don't really know because you're part of a community, but you may think you're just a Twitter handle, but you realize that you may have a lot of impact. And when I heard the people applauding my win, and then seeing that I was also nominated for Best Blog, that gave me the feels something major. I couldn't believe that happened. And I didn't expect me to have any sort of response to it, because usually I don't care about those things. But everything kind of came together, and it was very important for me to share that with so many people, and that's why I blogged about it. Nadav, great question there. So the question is what is the best way you found to enhance your Tableau skills from basic skills to a professional? Any tips? Um, the biggest tip is look for the free resources first. Tableau has a bunch of tutorials out there. There's so many great blogs out there that are wonderful. The Flurlage brothers, Andy Kriebel helped me quite a bit through the years with his YouTube blogging. Working on Makeover Monday Project Health Biz, and other community projects are very helpful because you're working with data sets that are consistent and you could see what other people did and you could improve your skills very quickly. Great question. I'm looking at another question here, public versus paid Tableau. How much do we lack if we rely on only public Tableau for Viz? Basically, it's the same tool. The only thing you can't do with public Tableau is pretty much for the most part, is download Vizes that are out there. But if you can recreate Vizes out there using Tableau Public, it's pretty much as good, and it actually makes your skills a lot better because you have to learn how to be more handy with the tools that you have. And the great thing about Tableau Public, there's 10 gigs of free space. In addition to that, you have so many inspirational Vizes out there that you can look at right away and share. So how do you convince an Excel-driven person to move to Tableau? Great question. I was an Excel person before I went to Tableau. That's the only tool I had for the most part for data visualization. But as soon as I saw a basic presentation of Tableau, I couldn't believe how extensive it was as far as your capabilities with the tool and how much data it could hold. Excel, if you're running 10,000 rows of data, it's going to struggle a little bit. But you could work with Tableau and get millions of rows of data, no problem. And that's an awesome thing. And the first time I saw it at a presentation, I was the only one that had interest in it, and I was the only one asking questions. But I knew right away this was going to be the love of my life, even though I had no idea that there was a community surrounding it. Heidi, so what's your company's attitude towards your involvement in the data fam? Are they appreciative, proud, or couldn't care less? I can't go into too much detail about that, but they are not, they're not upset about my involvement with the data fam community, as long as I keep it out separate from work, and as long as I share disclaimer if I present more or less my basic role in the company. As long as I do my job, they're very supportive of my work with the community because I could bring a lot of that back to work and help them and help share the tool with a lot of people and be a mentor at work. So it's very important for them that I have the ability to do something like this because I could share inspiration back to work. Great question. So another question, how long did it take to get basic to competent? It depends on what's defined as competent. Competent for business reporting, it could take a couple months at most, because a lot of times you're just drawing up bar charts and crosstabs. A couple months at most. But if you want to really extend yourself and find more ways to do things and be creative, have creative results and solutions, it takes years. I wouldn't say I'm absolutely proficient now, because there's so many things so many other people can do that I can't do, and I'm learning from people every day. So yeah, I'm competent, and I've been competent for years, but competency to proficiency is a different story. But you can be competent in Tableau in a very short period of time if you're working toward requirements, and the requirements are basically bar graphs and crosstabs. David, thank you for joining Tableau Magicians. It's a great group, a great little community on Facebook, and the only one that I really ever gravitated to, and I'm so happy to be part of it. Victor, so how do you see your role bringing data literacy with your other business users when the only thing they seem to like is pie charts all over the place? It's a funny question. Generally, we like bar charts, but same difference. It depends on who you're working with and how receptive the people are. You have to make sure you have receptive sponsorship that will help sell the idea with your team, and also sharing with your team how it could impact them and how it could help their managers get quick insight without them having to explain too much. A lot of people working in tech tend not to like to explain a lot, and they would like to rather show their work than say it a lot. So it's an added incentive if you could provide a tool that could provide a lot of that information for those people. And on that note, I do have to wrap up because it's Eva's turn now in Makeover Monday crew, a crew I love quite a bit. So thank you so much for being part of the presentation, all the wonderful questions that came piling in at the end.
Okay, so part two. I'm just going to set up my screen share very quickly, and then we're good to go. Okay, welcome everyone. This time it's going to be Andy, Charlie, and me speaking about Makeover Monday 2019, looking at the year in review and what's happened. And to start off with, we see there's quite a lot of people dialed in, but I don't want to make the assumption that everyone knows what Makeover Monday is all about. So we'll start with our mission statement, improving the way we analyze and visualize data one chart at a time. And I would like to invite Andy to give a very short history recap of how did Makeover Monday come about and what is it?
So Makeover Monday kind of started as a personal project back when I started blogging years and years ago. It then turned into, I realized I was starting to do it every week. Sometimes it was on Friday, and Makeover Friday didn't exactly have a ring to it. So Emily Kuhn said, well, why don't you do it on Mondays and call it Makeover Monday because it's a good alliteration. I started doing that probably back in, I think it was like 2014. I started doing it every single week. And then at the end of 2015, Andy Cotgrave asked me if he could join me and we could do them together. He was looking at the time to kind of brush up his Tableau skills, and he knew he was going to need to be using it more often. And he just wanted to get familiar with the product really well again. So we decided to start doing it, and then we said, you know what, why don't we just put it on Twitter and see if anybody else wants to participate? And it kind of took off from there. At the end of 2016, Andy didn't want to participate anymore, or he was done. So I asked Eva to join me, and she's been working on the project with me the past 3 years, and we've seen just exponential growth. We've written a book, which was always kind of a bucket list thing for me. And here we are at the end of 2019.
The end of a decade.
Yeah.
Isn't it? A decade marked by Makeover Monday. And to give you a bit of an impression what the last year looked like for Makeover Monday, we've got some numbers that Andy literally just pulled. So 51 data sets this year, 6,992 visualizations. I'm sure there's 8 more out there that can submit. And we had 1,659 individual people. So these are not duplicates. These are literally individual people participating. And Charlie, you have some stats as well, don't you?
I do, yeah. Hopefully you can hear me because I had some tech troubles.
Yes, hear you well.
We know that people who do Makeover Monday tend to stick at it. So 20% of the participants this year have actually created over 2/3 of the content. And if you bump those numbers a little bit more, 80% of the visualizations have been created by just 1/3 of that population. So it kind of means that once you get a foot in the door, you tend to stay there because you realize actually it's a beneficial thing to do.
It definitely is.
And Charlie, you've been one of the, there's only 2 of us that have done every Makeover Monday since it started in 2016. And that would be me and you. And a lot of people may not know that you've been participating in Makeover Monday for so long. And if you go back to your Tableau public profile, you can see how it's really helped you develop your skills. It's a bit cringy sometimes to go back and look at your first few or whatever, but you've got probably well over 200 visualizations on your Tableau public profile now. So I think you set a great example for people to, a bit of consistency and enthusiasm for it can really help you improve your skills.
Yeah, it was the best thing for me. So I started learning Tableau about 3 years or so ago. It was in the middle of the year. We were trying to proof of concept at work that it was the tool to go for, and so Makeover Monday was just a super convenient thing for me because I had this backlog of half a year's worth of data visualization opportunities. So yeah, I just got hooked.
And for those who haven't participated yet, because I'm sure there are some people dialed in online who just don't really know much about it, which is fine. So what we do is, and we will get to the process in a few minutes as well in more detail, but we essentially every week we publish a data set with a original visualization, and we ask everyone who participates to create something that's better, hence Makeover Monday. There is no deadline. You can do it whenever you like, with whatever tool you like. I would say probably 90 to 95% of people do use Tableau. And I think that's also a reflection of the mindset in this community that's all about, sharing, highlighting your own skills, but also helping others and being involved and just being really enthusiastic about this stuff. And people like working with Tableau. They do that in their own time. They do that during work. So that's what Makeover Monday is. And a little bit of a highlight from this past year. This is a montage collage of the blog cover pictures, which always capture the favorites of that week. So every week we pick our favorite visualizations and we put them on a blog post every Friday. And then we have this little collage with all of those visits. So this is basically the year so far. And that just shows you what Makeover Monday is like. And these are the people talking to you right now. Well, two of them. So my name is Eva Marie. I lead BI at XSL, and I'm a Tableau Zen Master.
And I'm Andy Kriebel. I'm the head coach of the Information Lab Data School, and I'm in the Tableau Zen Master Hall of Fame.
Yes, certainly is. And so, as Andy mentioned, we've led this project together for the last 3 years, and now there's a little bit of a change coming up. So we want to have a look towards 2020 and what's happening. And the other person you heard is Charlie. And Charlie is going to co-host Makeover Monday with me. So Charlie, do you want to say a couple of things about yourself?
Yes, so I've got this strange sort of parallel with Andy. So at the moment I'm an underwriter, and Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, you did something similar early on in your career.
Yeah, I'm a recovering underwriter. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm on the verge of needing to recover from it and looking to do something different perhaps. But yeah, I just spend my time at work immersed in lots and lots of data, and Tableau came along at a perfect time for us because it just got incredibly data heavy, and it's just tools like Excel and the Microsoft Office platform. They're kind of useful, but they don't let you interrogate lots of data in a very effective way. So it was like a match made in heaven, which sounds incredibly cheesy.
It is.
Yeah, sorry.
And by the way, for those that I was speaking about Charlie's improvement, he now has 384 visits up on his Tableau public profile. So you'll be, surely you can hit 400 by the end of the year.
Should be, but yeah, if anyone's listening, don't scroll to the bottom. It's really not worth it.
And well, Charlie and I spoke yesterday. Well, we had Viz Review, and we also had a call during that day. And we were talking a little bit about, what should we chat about during this webinar? Because it's one thing to show the slides and share information, but we also need a bit of banter. And one thing that came up is, how are things going to change with Charlie in the mix? So my observation is that because the data sets, we alternate weeks. So I pick during the even weeks, and Andy picks during the odd weeks, and Charlie will take over the odd weeks. And with Andy, there's, a fair amount of sports topics and politics and economics. For me, it's animals, food, and probably maps and women stuff. So I'm wondering, Charlie, are you going to keep the NBA and the US sports alive?
So yeah, the sports, yes. The US sports, probably not. But they're just a peculiar thing. So I mean, I could find data sets and not actually know what I'm doing with them, a bit like this week. But yeah, I'll definitely keep the sports element ticking over, and then I'm going to try and find a few random things to throw in, similar to the turkey vulture and squirrels and stuff like that, because I think you've sometimes got to have a bit of fun with this stuff.
I agree, and maybe we should have a look. Oh, sorry, one step back. I thought there was a different slide coming up. Clearly well prepared. But yes, on those data sets, we will, I guess, bring, new things maybe, or different things. But this next slide is something that basically Charlie suggested and we put together. Charlie, do you want to talk about these visitors that you pulled yesterday from Tableau Public?
Yeah, so this is a list of visitor days from 2019 so far. There's 24 different visitors on here, and they're all from Makeover Monday submissions this year. So when you consider that we've had 51 weeks, and pretty much half of those weeks end up delivering a visit a day, it's pretty impressive, really. And I think the best thing that this shows for me is the diversity of the sort of stuff we see. There are some charts that are fairly similar, but you've got such a diverse range of chart types and of design skills and subject matters, and that for me is what the heart of Makeover Monday is giving people the opportunity to have a look at a different data set every week, which will be on a data set that takes them well out of their comfort zone. Like defensive ratings in the NBA mean nothing to me. I now know a little bit about them, but I think this just shows that Makeover Monday is a clear developmental path for people, because I know Michelle Freeman got a visit of the day earlier this week, and she's delighted and credits Makeover Monday for being a part of her development. So it's seeing stuff like this that makes it really in your face and lets you realise that actually this is a project that the community embraces and benefits from.
And I think to add to that, Charlie, it's not only kind of around your design skills, because there's going to be quite a few topics that you know nothing about. Really helps you develop your skills as an analyst and learn how to just treat data as data, and don't worry about if you're not a subject expert. Maybe you go do a bit of research, or you just kind of go through basic questions like who, what, where, when, why, how, and just create those as tabs and start exploring the data and see what you can find. And I find that one of the most fun parts of Makeover Monday is when Eva picks a data set that I know nothing about.
Sometimes you complain that and you're like, I don't like this data. But I do the same, I'll be honest. So what can people expect in 2020? What is coming up for Makeover Monday? I would say at a high level, there's going to be more data sets. There's going to be more webinars and more ways to participate. More data sets, of course, one every week. More webinars. There's something coming up which I haven't got a polished picture yet to share on Twitter, but we will announce it very shortly. And then in terms of ways to participate, one thing we have discussed, and we need to just find the technological solution, is to invite people to submit suggestions for data. And some people have already done that, on Twitter, just saying, hey, this would be a great Makeover Monday, but we're going to try and find a way to make that easier for you to submit, but also then save us a bit of time if we have all the information there.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that we're probably going to try and explore finding a way to broaden feedback, because the visitor reviews are a very good platform at the moment, but there seems to be a desire out in the community to get more feedback on things, and we just need to try and figure out a way that's time efficient but gives a bit more feedback than you can stick in a tweet or something like that.
Okay, and one thing I forgot to say at the beginning, but please, with regard to questions, we have time at the end, but also feel free to just put questions out whenever you feel like it while we're talking, and we can address them. Do we have a question yet?
Yeah, so David Shee, sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, David. He's suggesting a leap year related topic for Makeover Monday. So that might be, I'm sure there'll be one, around the election, if not more. There's, but that'd be a good topic. We've never looked at anything leap year related.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what that would mean, but.
I mean, I don't know how many birthdays fall on the 29th of February or something like that.
Yeah.
How many weddings?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So one thing that is coming up that I can confirm already is that in March we're kicking off with a 1 year, 12 months challenge to visualize gender equality. We announced this at the Tableau conference, and this is in collaboration with Operation Fistula and the Tableau Foundation. So once a month from March onwards, kicking off in the week of International Women's Day, we're going to tackle a gender equality topic. And at TC, we started very gently with literacy rates that had gender in the data set. This is going to be a bit punchier though, and it's because, well, there are things that need to be talked about, but also we found that when it comes to social, kind of social impact topics, the Makeover Monday community is super involved, super engaged, and creates great work. So we want to, on the one hand, support Operation Fistula and the Tableau Foundation in reaching a broader audience, but also give everyone an opportunity to have an impact with their work. So we're in the process of curating all those data sets so that we have them all ready to go. There's going to be quite a lot of PR being done about it on social media, and we will plan some launch events in March that people can attend live. So this will hopefully work in conjunction with local Tableau user groups. But we'll publish more information when it becomes available. So that is one thing we're going to launch. Let me just jump to the next slide, because this, and very different topic, is really how it works. And I mean, Charlie, you've done every single Makeover Monday for the last 3 years. Do you want to talk through this process of how it actually happens?
Okay, so if I'll start it from the Sunday itself. So Sunday is the day where the data is shared on data.world, and it's probably the day where we actually see the most submissions published. So people will download the data, start doing their work, stick it up on public or whatever the equivalent is for Power BI or other tools. But that process trickles on through the week. So like Eva said earlier, it doesn't matter when you do it. You don't have to time box yourself to getting it all done on the Sunday or Monday. It doesn't matter. So submissions trickle in through the week. And then on Wednesday, it's Viz Review, which is hosted on Bright Talk, where if you have put the hashtag Viz Review on your submission, and if you register for the Viz Review on Bright Talk that week, then you go onto a list, which yesterday we had too many to get through. Sometimes we have enough that we can deal with in more detail each week, but we will critically appraise, constructively appraise the visualizations that meet the selection criteria, and then we'll keep an eye on seeing how people iterate with our feedback. Sometimes we've got lots to say. Sometimes there's just very good stuff, which if there's not much that can be changed, we'll just draw attention to the bits that are really, really effective. And then on Friday, the weekly favorites are shared. So it's not definitely the same number every single week, and it's not a competition, but it's worth drawing everyone's attention towards the things that we would consider to be the best submissions of that week. And then while everybody else is relaxing over the weekend, behind the scenes, there's preparation for the next release in advance of the Sunday data being published again. And then that cycle goes round and round.
Yeah, it doesn't stop, it goes round. And we'll have Makeover Monday happening next week over Christmas, but also over New Year's. We just won't have the webinar because we'll take a break, but also we anticipate that not a lot of people would really dial in. So the webinars are back in the new year. Thanks, Charlie. So where to find more information? And there's 3 key points, and so we've got the website, we have data.world, we've published the data, and there's Twitter. So let's actually check those out. So our website is makeovermonday.co.uk, and on the main page we have a little bit of a welcome. We have the 6 steps again, and then they are spelled out as well. So if you work through those, there's links, there's Twitter handles, you should be able to find all the information. Now on the website there's a bunch of stuff. We have the information about our book, and our book is not a Tableau how-to manual. It's really about lessons learned from the first year that Andy and I ran Makeover Monday together, and then we just captured all of that in best practices, approaches, how to tackle stuff, with 300 different visualizations from the community included in that book. So that's what it is. Under participate, you will find the data sets. We publish that all on Twitter, but this is where you find everything. There's a submissions tracker, so a submissions form for you to submit, and a submissions tracker. And we have a gallery where we publish the favorites. And then under Learn, there's the blog where you find the favorites, our makeovers every week, and then webinars. This is an important one, so I want to click on it. This has all the previous and upcoming webinars. The ones for 2020 aren't scheduled yet. I will do that. Oh, this is really strange. There's 2018 listed in the title, but they are definitely from this year. So you can go through all the previous webinars. You don't have to watch them live. You can watch them on demand. There's no expectation that people wake up in the middle of the night or interrupt their workday. But you can find all of those. And once I have scheduled new ones, you will find a little tab for upcoming webinars. So you can check those out as well. And we also offer workshops for organizations. So there's more information provided there. There's a bit about us and events, and there's a shop if you want any Makeover Monday swag. On data.world, we have a Makeover Monday page where in the library you find all the data sets. You can download them, you can connect directly to Tableau, however you want to work with it. You don't have to do anything else there. Literally, it's just our data repository. And then the webinars are run on Bright Talk, so this is what the channel looks like. And again, you can go down through history if you want to. And even if you haven't submitted anything yourself, I think it might be interesting to just watch a webinar, see how they run, and what you can gain from it as well. So back to our slides. And we have decided, well, Andy suggested, and then I think we all agreed, that we want to celebrate some people from this year. So we are going to award some awards.
Yeah, there's not an actual trophy or anything like that to go with it. It was just kind of a last minute idea to recognize some of the people that have made some outstanding contributions to Makeover Monday this year. So yeah, do we want to go to the next slide?
Yes.
Then? Yes, we came up with a few categories because I'm into sports. Rookie of the Year is an important thing in sports like baseball. So yeah, this is somebody that kind of came almost out of nowhere earlier this year, and has done some really, really incredible work, and we've seen lots of progress throughout the year, and has engaged really well with the community. So our Rookie of the Year is Mira Umasankar. I hope I said that right, Mira. Yeah, so she works in Singapore with Sarah Burnett.
I think she used to work with Sarah.
Oh, used to work with Sarah. Okay. Well, she found out about Makeover Monday through Sarah. So
yeah.
Maybe the credit goes to Sarah, not you, Mira. But no, just kidding. But she's been really engaged in the community and has created some really stunning work, as you can see on the screen right here.
Okay. Then the next one, I think Andy should do as well.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So most improved. So obviously this means improve the most from the beginning of the year till the end. And what we look for here is we're looking for somebody that's participated a lot. And you can just look at their Tableau public profile and see a significant improvement as you go through the year. So our most improved is Matthew Armstrong, who just happens to be at the data school. I'm not biased. Well, I am kind of biased, but I'm not biased based on this reward. Matthew's been really diligent throughout the year in trying to improve his skills and get better and better. And it's been really fun for me seeing him every day to watch him grow. He started with the data school about 5 months ago now. And but he's been doing Makeover Monday for a year because he was given feedback that he needed to work and do Makeover Monday in order to get into the data school. And he latched onto that and took off, and we can now see the fantastic work that he's doing, not only in his visualizations, but often in his analysis as well, like the most recent week with the MBA data.
Okay, the next category.
This is the last category.
Oh, yeah, my keyboard didn't work. So design inspiration, and I've already given it away. This is Sam O'Droll, and for me, this was a no-brainer because his work is amazing, and I know it's inspired others, but it certainly has also inspired me on wow. I haven't tried to replicate what he's done because I'm when you look at the Rhino Viz, it's fairly simple. There's a bar chart, there's a bunch of text, there's a couple of, I guess it's a bar or a vertical Gantt, and then there's a picture. But I couldn't do this if I tried for like a year. Like, this is just really well done. And the other visualizations as well. I think Samo shows how the use of white space, how effective that can be. Here, a little bit smaller, there's something about bear attacks in the USA. We had something about, rubbish found on beaches, and he had this like super wide viz. And yeah, Samo has been a huge inspiration to me. And I've always enjoyed seeing his visits come through.
Yeah, his popcorn rankings one, I remember when that came out, like the reaction to it was huge, because everyone was just like, how do you even think of this and then make it look so good?
And how do you do it in Tableau?
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite visualization of the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's really cool. And he clearly puts a lot of thought into layout, but also the storytelling, because they're all different. The popcorn ranking one is very different from the Rhino viz. It's just really cool. And then the last category, and this time I'm not going to press twice. This is the most featured, and that just means the most featured in our favorites, because this person has been very consistent, has submitted every week, has participated in this review, has taken on board the feedback, and feedback isn't actually that easy to receive. And this person, the winner of this award, has just taken it on the chin kind of thing, right? And has just said, well, this is an opportunity to grow and learn. So the most featured award goes to Ash She. Ash has developed his own style, which you can see, with these like gray background ones. They're all very similar in their style. And he's iterated diligently, and it's been fantastic to see his progress over the year.
I think what's great, one of the really good things about his work is he basically does line charts and bar charts, and that's pretty much it. And he's learned how to make those incredibly successful. Charlie, it looks like he's influenced by your work quite a bit, looking at this.
Yeah, and it's another one of these annoying habits of maybe looking at what I've done and then making it look better. So, yeah.
That is quite annoying when that happens.
But yeah. It's interesting, like going through this, because I wasn't involved in this list of name picking, but I had a little document up of people that I was, considered to have stood out in the last year, and basically you mentioned all the same ones. So it's good that we've got the same appreciation of good work.
Yes, and the only reason you weren't involved is because it literally finished 5 minutes before the webinar started. Okay, so that brings us to the last slide, which is a bit of a, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for being part of the community. But also we want to open it up to questions from anyone out there who's curious about Makeover Monday, who wants to say something, ask something. Now is your time.
I'd also like to thank the Makeover Monday community for the last 4 years. It's been really, really fantastic. I've enjoyed it a lot, and look forward to seeing how Charlie and Eva can make it even better next year and the year after and the year after. So thank you for everything.
You'll still be taking part, won't you?
What's that, Charlie?
You'll still be taking part every week, I guess.
We'll see. It depends if I like data sets that you pick.
You will not accept being not in the 100% club. That's my prediction for 2020.
Yeah.
We won't let that slide, no chance.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them in the Q&A, and we can answer them. So why don't we give you a minute or so to type your questions in. It looked like they came in kind of toward the end of the last of Adam's presentation. So let us know what you want to know. Or nothing.
Or nothing, yeah.
Or you're all asleep.
No, I think it might be that they will roll in all at once.
Well, there's 89 of you on, so surely at least one of you has a question.
Yeah, some people dropped off. We had 100 and something before.
It's Charlie.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I guess there must not be any questions then.
Yeah, this is kind of the awkward silence moment where we don't really know what to do while we wait for people to maybe have a question.
Charlie, do you know any good dad jokes?
Oh, let's not.
No, I've got no dad jokes, but I've got a Christmas lunch coming up in 15 minutes, so I'm more than happy for this to end if it needs to. Oh, there's a question.
There's a question.
So it is.
Are there any free training sessions for beginners at the data school itself? I mean, if you're in London, yes, but they're not. It's not part of the data school. So the Information Lab runs free Alteryx and Tableau training sessions every month. So there's a meetup group called, if you go to meetup.com, and there's a meetup group called Let's Talk Data. And you can find all the information about those sessions on there, but they're not part of the data school. It's just part of the Information Lab.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to duck out because I've just got kicked out of the meeting room.
Okay, well, we will stay online if there's any other questions popping in, but thanks, Charlie, for joining us. And I hope everyone's excited to see what data sets Charlie is going to bring.
Cool. Okay. Happy Christmas, everyone. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. So Sunila said, I won't ask any questions. I just want to say thank you and very Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you. Okay. And then we have James Dixon. I'll be brave. Would you advise tackling each Makeover Monday as they come, or go back and tackle some easier Makeover Mondays first?
I don't think there's really a rating between easiest and hardest. They're all very different. All the data sets are prepared for you, so you don't have to do any data prep or anything like that. So I would just kind of pick up maybe with the next week whenever you want to start. And if you want to do a bit more practicing, go back and find data sets that are interesting to you.
Yeah, I'd agree. So what we try to do is, with the data sets, it should be something where you can create something very simple and basic with not a lot of effort. Like, you know, if you use Tableau and you just click something together, let's say, you should be able to participate every week without a problem. And there is, and this is probably something we should stress, there is no expectation that you do something that's like of an INVIS standard that is going to take you hours and hours. There's also an expectation or need to use every single field in the data. Like if we publish a viz, you don't have to create a really detailed dashboard. It's fine to just do a bar chart or a line chart or something like that. So, so just pace yourself. From my own experience when taking on this project with Andy, I remember feeling so much under pressure because I thought, well, everyone's going to look at what I create because I'm leading it now. It's like, it doesn't matter. Just do what you feel comfortable with, and over time you'll grow.
So there's another question. I run a fun Friday session at work where I use the data set from Makeover Monday. Any tips to make it more engaged? It runs on WebEx. That's very difficult to do over WebEx because you can't physically engage with the people. I think that'd be a great question for you to post on Twitter, because there's other people that run into that same situation. I think it'd be better to get kind of a collective, some collective feedback on there. I don't really have a good way to answer that question because it is very hard to engage people because, you know, they may not even be paying attention. Half the time they're probably not.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you balance Makeover Monday with your day jobs? You want to go first? You want me to go first?
So I'm quite diligent with my time. Makeover Monday mostly happens in my personal time. So weekends and evenings, or, you know, tweeting on the bus or on the train. But if I do it during work hours, then, you know, I just balance it out to make sure I still get my work done. Or full transparency, I don't have children. I know they take up a lot of people's time. So I just kind of have to look after myself, which makes it easier. But I'm trying to remove any distraction that doesn't really add value to my life. So that means TV or things like shopping. I don't really like shopping. I buy stuff, like I purchase things I need, but I don't really go shopping. So I think it's just about assessing where I spend my time and what's important to me. And this project is really important to me.
Yeah, so I guess my response to that is I'm fortunate to have an employer that encourages me to work on it and to give back to the community, because we see that as a great way to help people. And our company is all about helping as many people as we can. Hence why we run free training sessions at our office. So most of my time on Makeover Monday is sometimes it's during the day when I'm not teaching. Sometimes it's I tend to leave my computer at work during the week so that I'm not on my computer all the time, which is something I'd highly encourage people to do. So, I'll do my Makeover Monday usually on a Sunday and just be done with it. I try not to spend a lot of time on my Makeover Mondays. The hardest thing probably is finding data sets and getting those ready.
And one thing I wanted to add is I used to do a lot of communication or feedback stuff on Twitter, and it just takes so much time and it's just not very efficient. So I focus that all in Viz Review. I don't comment on a lot of things during the week because I find Twitter can be soul destroying because you get in, like not with Makeover Monday, but you find all these other conversations or topics and it just sucks the joy out of my life. So I try to be very I guess, what do you call it? Like transactional, functional on Twitter, just do the stuff I need to do. That doesn't mean I don't care. It's just I care more about the Viz Review part where I can really talk to people.
So Hutcheson just left a comment thanking us for everything we've done for the Makeover Monday community. So Hutcheson was the Iron Viz champion this year, and all three finalists in Iron Viz this year started with Makeover Monday. So hopefully that encourages a lot of you, and it shows you where you can get with really hard work and diligence. So Gordon Hack. So Gordon, it was nice meeting you earlier this week. Thanks for saying hello. I was wondering what the process you go through in coming up with data sets. So I don't really find it particularly hard to find crappy charts. The hard part sometimes is getting the data underneath of them. If I don't have a lot of time, I'll usually just pick something really simple that's just a bar chart, even if I just have to manually type the numbers into a spreadsheet. As long as I try to limit myself to about maybe no more than 30 minutes of data prep if I can help it. Because I just don't feel like it's worth my time to do something that complicated. I kind of go through the thought process of, if it's taking me this long to get the data ready, how much fun is it going to be to analyze? Because the whole idea is to get people improving charts and learning how to make over charts and make them better. And I want that to be a pretty simple process for people. So I try to make the data preparation process pretty simple as well.
Okay, I think we have to go quickly so we don't take up Sarah's time. There's just one thing I also want to answer. So Matthew said, do you need to stick to just using the Makeover Monday data set to produce a Viz, or can you introduce other data to the mix to embellish what you produce? You're welcome to do as you please. I just want to make sure that we make it clear there's no expectation that you do that. So we don't want this to be extra data prep work like Andy just said. You can use just the Makeover Monday. If you want to introduce others, that's fine.
So I guess last question here. What are some of the most interesting data sets you've shared for Makeover Monday in the last few years? There are a couple. In the first year, one of my favorites was Makeover Monday about makeup, because we were kind of taking over the Makeover Monday hashtag, and it was primarily dominated by people doing makeovers with makeup. So we tried to engage with them, and they didn't really bite. So, but we gave it an effort. There was also a really fun one about orgasms. That was pretty hilarious. A bit controversial, but I think people found it funny. And what about any favorites?
My favorite of all time is the turkey vulture migration path in the Americas. It was early last year, and I just loved it. But I also like the minor ones, and the solar eclipse was really cool too. Okay, and with that, we will hand over to Sarah so that she can kick off her presentation. Thank you everyone for listening, and
Bye.
Before you go, guys, I just want to say a big thank you to Andy for everything you've done over the last 4 years. I mean, from my perspective, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
And best of luck for the future.
Thank you.
Okay, just give me a second to share my screen. We'll get started. Okay, so when I was asked to do this, Caroline came to me and said, would I do a recap of 2019 from a community perspective? I accepted, but I just didn't realize how much had happened this year, so I'm going to go through it here. Before I begin, my name's Sarah Bartlett. I'm a Tableau social ambassador, and I'm also a co-leader of the London Tableau user group. You can find me on Twitter @SarahLovesData or on my blog, sarahlovesdata.co.uk. So before I begin, I mean, what a year we've had. 2019 has been incredible. There's just been so many things that have happened and so many different initiatives that have been set up within the community. I'm going to try and cover a portion of it here. It'll be impossible for me to cover everything in the time that I have. But just so you know, the focus of this presentation will be on Europe, since this is a UK and Ireland tug, but there are some aspects that will cross over into the global community as well. I'll begin with community growth. So we've seen what I feel like is substantial growth in the community this year. This is a picture that was taken at the Tableau conference in Europe in Berlin in June. This picture, in comparison to the previous year, it has so many more people in it. I think last year's picture probably had around 10 people, and now we've grown to this huge group. And you can see that again in the picture from the Tableau conference in Las Vegas last month, where you've got this huge community. And I mean, these are advertised in the same way. It's put out on Twitter and people were asked to gather in a certain place. But if I go back and compare this to 2018, it makes the 2018 picture look tiny in comparison. So I just feel that the community continues to grow with projects like Makeover Monday, Workout Wednesday, and other things that encourage people to get involved and just become part of this ever-growing community. Now, one significant thing that happened earlier this year in August was that Salesforce acquired Tableau, which means we're likely to see an even bigger increase in the community next year as we see more of the Salesforce, what they like to call Ohana, coming together, and you see that crossover into the Tableau community as well. So that should be really exciting. The next thing I want to cover is newcomers. Now, I feel that there's been a lot of newcomers into the community this year. There's just a few examples of vizzes by some newcomers here. So on the top left, we have a viz by Adam Mico. He was presented on this call just now, and he also won the notable newbie vizzy at the Tableau conference. Adam set up a blog this year, which has already been, created quite a storm, and he's already become a famous name in just a few months. Then we've got Danushki down here, who did the Firebird Suite Viz, which was actually won Best Viz of the Year at the Vizzies. And she was also the only Tableau author to make it into the Information is Beautiful shortlist this year, which is just an incredible achievement. Then we have Hutcheson. So Hutcheson was mentioned obviously by Andy before, but Hutcheson started using Tableau in April, and he went on to participate in IronViz in Las Vegas, and it was actually a co-winner. So, and having only used Tableau for around 8 months, it's just an incredible achievement. I've got a viz here by Maria Brock as well. So Maria is a student ambassador, and she's just continuously blowing us away week after week with all these incredible vizzes. So we've got, Samo is mentioned here. Samo was also mentioned in the prior presentation on Makeover Monday. Samo's just an incredible designer and just blows us away with his incredible vizzes. We've also got a viz here from Brian Moore. So Brian Moore started using Tableau around 9 months ago. He got involved in the community through using Sports Viz Sunday and just producing sports vizzes. And he's made quite a name for himself. And he went on to participate in the community tips battle in Vegas and actually won the competition, having built an incredible viz on superheroes in 10 minutes that just blew the crowd away. Got a viz here as well by Soha. So Soha's part of the data school in London, and she just produces continuously high content vizzes. She produces beautiful maps. She's making quite a name for herself in the world of maps and Mapbox. And then finally, I want to mention Mira, who was also mentioned on the Makeover Monday presentation. And Mira's, I think, has participated in if not all Makeover Mondays this year, and also participated in projects like Iron Quest, and has again really made a name for herself. And with this viz here, she came 5th place in the Iron Viz feeder for migration, which was earlier this year. So well done, Mira. And as I said, this is just a tiny subset of newcomers. I could speak about this all day long. So if I haven't included you, please don't be offended. Okay, next up we have new ambassadors. So back in the summer, there was a group of new ambassadors announced. So we saw 55 new people join the program, which took the number of ambassadors up to 122 across 5 streams. The notable thing that happened this year is that we saw a new stream added to the program, which was for students. There was 22 new student ambassadors welcomed onto the program, and the student ambassadors have led workshops at universities in the US, in the UK, in Singapore and Australia. And there's a picture down here of Maria leading a session in the US. just their impact, we continue to see it all the time, and Marie is an excellent example of that. If we look at the Europe specifically, we've welcomed in 7 new ambassadors. So we've got Mark, who's a Tableau Public Ambassador, Diego, who's really popular on the forums, we've got Chris, who's a student, Ella, who runs both the UK Health User Group and the Northwest User Group in the UK. We've got James Smith, who's a co-leader of SportsViz Sunday, Mark Edwards, social ambassador, and he also blogs as well with Pablo Gomez, and Eugenia Kiss, who is a forums ambassador. So well done all. It's great to see some recognition there. Okay, next up, this is the big section. I've got IronViz. So in this section, I'm going to cover both the European IronViz and the global. So first up, in June, we had the IronViz Europe final in Berlin at the European conference. The feeder for this competition was energy and sustainability. So people could go away and find a data set that fit this theme. With IronViz Europe, the top 3 scoring entries become the finalists. There's only one feeder. So the finalists this year, I'll come back, were Anna, Tristan and Simon. So Anna is from Poland, Tristan's from the Netherlands, and Simon is from Germany. Now, just before I continue, I just want to say there was 33 entries this year and 66% came from newcomers, which is incredible. And I know that Anna was also a newcomer this year. And 1/3 of the entrants were from women. So the entries you can see here were the feeder quizzes that the contestants built. And then they went on to participate on stage in Berlin. The event this year was hosted by Louis and Archana, who are looking very sparkly in this picture. And the data set they had to visualize was the Eurovision Song Contest, which is super fun. Now on stage, Simon was crowned the winner, but he did this viz on Eurovision Song Contest, and he used parameter actions, which were a new feature that came out in 2019.2, which was released around the same time as the conference. So it was brand new at the time. But a few weeks after the conference, the scores were tallied again, and then the Tableau realized they'd made an error, and in fact there were 2 winners. So Anna was crowned co-winner in retrospect. So this is Anna's entry, where she used a piano to look at which country is best at predicting the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest. And she also used Mateline, which again was a new feature that was released in 2019.2. And then if I move on to IronViz Global, this year we just saw an explosion in the number of people entering. So there was 260 entries across the 3 feeders. The second feeder was music, and that saw a record 101 entries. And this year we also saw lots of new participants coming in, so anywhere between 46% and 60%, depending on the feeder. The first feeder that we had was on agriculture, and for this one, for the first time ever, Tableau actually provided a data set for people to visualize. Now, this wasn't a friendly data set by any means. It was huge, and it needed to be restructured. But despite that, there was still a staggering number of people that entered that competition. Now that feeder was won by Joshua Smith. And then the second feeder was the music round, which again, like I said, had a record 101 people participating. For this one, people could go out and source their own data. Now this one was won by Lindsay Poulter. And then the final feeder was on migration data. So there was a data set provided by the Associated Press, but participants could also go away and source their own complementary data to go with that. And this feeder was won by Hutcheson. Now it's worth saying that when Hutcheson entered IronViz, he didn't really know what he was getting himself in for. He didn't know what IronViz was, or if there was, he didn't know there was a competition that came after winning the feeder. So I think all this came as a bit of a shock, especially being the last winner to be announced as well. Now, it's also worth saying that all 3 finalists this year were first-time IronViz participants, and obviously Hutcheson had only been using Tableau for around 8 months at the time of taking part. Now, it's always a huge spectacle, the IronViz competition in the US, and this year was no exception. So it was hosted by Keisha and Andy Cotgreave, and the contestants came out behind this like smoke wall and wowed us on stage with their visualizations, which were looked at food data provided by Pitney Bowles. So these are the 3 visits that the participants built. So Joshua and Hutcheson kind of looked at similar things. So the representation of countries in international cuisine. Joshua focused on restaurants in the US, while Hutcheson focused on 12 countries and which cuisines are dominant in each of these countries. Lindsay took a different approach and built more of a business style dashboard looking at Subway, McDonald's, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts and 7-Eleven and where their branches are located around the US. She also looked at that by area to see which locations have the most branches and if there's any areas where these companies could potentially expand to where they don't currently have a presence. Now in a twist of events, there were two winners. So Joshua and Hutcheson were announced as co-winners. It was a really, really tight final and it took us all by surprise. Congratulations. And I highly recommend you go back and watch this on YouTube if you didn't see it live, because it is an amazing just spectacle to see. So moving on, Tableau Conference Europe, which I've touched on already, took place in June in Berlin. It was held at the Estrel Conference Center. The conference had around 3,500 attendees, hundreds of sessions. It's worth noting that the conference took place during a heat wave, so it was about 33 degrees heat every day, which resulted in lots of beer being consumed in the beer garden outside the conference venue. We saw that attendees came to the conference from across Europe and beyond, so there was a board put up in the conference centre just to where people could go and stick a sticker on to show where they're from. So you can see here that people attended the conference from across the globe. It was this year, it was a large venue, but not too big, so it was quite easy to navigate. This is a picture of the expo hall, and it was nice and big. There was lots of opportunities to talk to vendors and just to meet other people from the community. New this year, they had a Meet the Devs stand where you could go and attend a drop-in and talk to devs about Tableau Public or Spatial or Ask Data, and that was a really great addition. They also had a Tableau Public Viz Gallery, which I think is this is the second time it's been run. The first time was Europe the previous year, and that showcased visualizations by Tableau Public authors. Now, I'll just call out a few of these so you can see them better. So there was visualization here, which has become quite famous, by Samuel Parsons, which is looking at a history of the Six Nations, the rugby tournament, which is just incredible design. I highly recommend you go and check this out on Tableau Public in more detail. There was also a viz by Cassia. So Cassia's viz looked at garbage in the ocean. And again, this viz is animated. So if you go on Tableau Public, you can see different elements moving around. It's really something special. And then there was a viz by Yvette, which looked at women's representation in politics around the world. At the conference, there was also a number of live community sessions. So lots of the projects that we participate in regularly became these live sessions at conference. So there was the second ever SportsViz Sunday live session, which they first did a talk at conference in New Orleans last year. This time it was actual hands-on live session run by Simon, James and Spencer. They had a panel with special guests from the community. They led a viz exercise and a quiz as well. It was super fun, and it had, you can see here, a great turnout. We also had a session led for Viz for Social Good by Neil Richards and Amanda Pattist. There was a sold out Data Plus Women breakfast. And then there was also the Makeover Monday live session, which I won't touch on too much since we've just had the talk, but at Makeover Monday Live, we visualized a data set on Airbnb data from Berlin. And again, I think this session was sold out. And there was a Workout Wednesday live session for the first time in Europe, led by Lorna Eden and Anne Jackson. I had the pleasure of speaking on a panel at the Berlin Tug meeting alongside Lorna Eden and Simon Beaumont, where we spoke about being ambassadors and what it means to be part of the ambassador program. And that was the last session of conference, but despite that, there was a great turnout and it was lots of fun. And also announced at TC Europe was Blueprint. So Blueprint is a step-by-step guide to help organizations become more data-driven. Here's the tube map as it's known. I've included a QR code on some of the slides coming up so you can go away and actually look at this content yourself. So this will take you to the Blueprint site where you can learn more about Blueprint and what it is and how you can benefit from it. The conference as well, there was a great talk by Ravi Mistry and Emma White from the Information Lab, where they spoke about building an analytics culture, and this was all aligned to Blueprint principles. Now, I can't mention TC Europe without mentioning Kent Martin, who led an initiative to take lots of happy selfies throughout conference to show how much fun we were having. And these are just a collection of some of those. It was super fun, and it was lots of fun to follow along on Twitter. Okay, number 6 is user groups. So this focuses on user groups in Europe. We've got a thriving community of user groups over here. There was lots of user groups established this year, including the new user group in Belgium and also the Southwest England user group. This year there were 130 user group meetings across Europe with 9,000 registered attendees. And that's 100% growth in attendee rate on the previous year. These are just a few pictures from the user groups in Europe. I mean, there's too many to mention. So there's a few here from the Northwest one up in the UK, London Tug, and Belgium and the Netherlands. There was a data dev hackathon hosted in October in London, which was won by the Information Lab team, the Triceratops. We had lots of fun dressing up as dinosaurs, T-Rexes. The Data Plus Women London group continues to go from strength to strength. They've had multiple speakers in from Tableau and also guest speakers from different industries. And they've also led training sessions, not only in Tableau, but also in things like Python. And the UK Healthcare Tug, they meet about 4 times a year, led by Simon Beaumont and Ella Warsdale. And they tend to hold day-long sessions with multiple different things going on. So they'll cover new features. There's a picture here of Bethany Lyons delivering a talk on new features that were in, I think, 2019.3. They also have guest speakers, and recently they led a Makeover Monday live session earlier this month. Okay, next up we have community projects and challenges. So there's multiple projects and challenges, which I'll go through later, but there was 2 notable ones that started this year. So first of all, there was Prepping Data, which is led by Carl Alchin and Jonathan Allenby. Prepping Data is a challenge, a weekly challenge, which is announced every Tuesday, which gives you something to practice on Tableau prep. And so far, this started in January, and so far there's been over 200 participants and 1,300 submissions. So it's become really, really popular, and it gives us a great way to practice using Tableau prep, which is quite new. It only came out last year. If you're interested in learning more, you can go onto the Prepping Data website, or you can scan the QR code and that will take you there. Also also founded this year by me, was IronQuest. So IronQuest follows the same format as the IronViz feeders, and is designed to give people an opportunity to practice sourcing their own data and building vizzes that align to the IronViz scoring criteria of design, storytelling, and analysis. Now, so far, I've led 5 rounds of this. We're currently in the 6th round. The 6th round the theme is food and drink, which means that participants can go away and source data on anything related to food and drink, and then submit a viz that aligns to those criteria. The deadline for submissions this month is the 31st of December. Now, so far, there have been around about 130 entries received and 7 visitor days, which has been really great to see, and it's been great to see people get behind this. And also, it's worth noting that Anna, who went on to win IronViz Europe, was a regular participant in IronQuest. If you're interested in learning more, you can go on my website or just scan the QR code here. And there's multiple other projects, and I'd be here all day if I spoke about them all individually, but I highly encourage you to go and check them out. Obviously, Makeover Mondays we've been covered quite heavily in the prior talk, but we've also got Sports Viz Sunday, Viz for Social Good, Project Health Viz, and Workout Wednesday, and they're all great at giving you a platform to help you improve your Tableau skills. And if you're interested in any of those, I encourage you to go and follow the hashtags on Twitter and find out more. Okay, next up we have the Tableau Fringe Festival, EMEA. So this was run back in March by Lorna Eden, Nai, Luza, and myself. The Tableau Fringe Festival was founded by Emily Kund, and it's now spread across most of the world, so 4 different regions. This is the 2nd ever European version that we ran. And this year we ran it for 12 hours straight, and we had 17 speakers speak on multiple topics covering community, how to be more creative, Tableau Server, Tableau Extensions, and Tableau Prep. The great thing about this is all 17 talks were recorded, and you can watch them back on YouTube. There's a Tableau Fringe Festival channel as well, where you can watch all the talks ever, which there's hundreds on there. So if you just follow this QR code, that will take you there. Next up, I want to talk about blogs and knowledge sharing. So it feels like the community continuously embraces new features. So we've had 4 versions of Tableau come out this year, and the community have just really got behind them and blogged about how to use these features and also cool applications of these techniques. There's a few blogs or sites I want to call out. So Mark Reed has been excellent this year in blogging about things like show hide containers, set actions and parameter actions. An example here he's got where he designed a toggle screen where you could toggle on and off this layer on a dashboard that would give you instructions on how to use it. His blog is just fantastic, so if you please do go and check that out. There was also a viz published by Sarah and Fuad, which is the Tableau Big Book of Calcs, which is essentially a Tableau workbook full of different highly useful calculations which you could download and then take and use in your own work. It's incredibly useful, and it could be a fantastic resource to many, I'm sure. Lindsay Poulter, who participated in the IronViz final, has become what is known as a set action queen. She's also got into parameter actions now as well. She's got lots and lots of helpful content on her blog around using set actions and parameter actions, which I highly recommend going to have a look at. And then I can't mention this without mentioning Kevin. Kevin's on fire. He's probably blogged about everything you can possibly imagine. There's a few examples here of things that he's released this year. He's got so much content on his blog and workbooks you can take and use as templates, so you could create like a curvy bump chart. He's also come up with innovative ways of using collapsible containers and parameter actions, so I highly recommend you go and check his blog out as well. Now, if you are interested in setting up your own blog, Mark Bradburn and Chris McLennan this year have set up datafam.net. Now this will give you a platform to create your own blog in an easy way. Like, it can be like quite a daunting thing to do, not knowing where to begin setting up your own blog. So they've got 2 options that you can take. So you could have a WordPress blog set up fully configured for you and ready to go, or you can actually work with them to source your own domain name and then blog on that site. So I highly recommend you go and check out datafam.net, and both of them have also been promoting content on Twitter at the datafam.net and what the type of blogs that have been published so far. So thank you for listening, and I can't wait to see what happens in 2020. Has anyone got any questions before I go? Okay, so there's a question from David. Has the Tableau Europe 2020 location and date been announced? Yes, it has. It's taking place in London this year. I believe it's in July. Let me see. I haven't got the dates to hand, but it's actually on the website from last year. But yeah, it's in July. I will share the slides afterwards if anyone wants them, and I'll tweet a link to those, and I'm sure that Caroline can help with that as well. Any other questions? Just give it a few more minutes. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I just want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.